You know this box. You have seen it your entire life on your mother's counter, in your grandmother's pantry, stacked in every grocery store in America. The smiling woman on the front, the red and yellow label. You never thought twice about her. But here is something that might surprise you. That woman was never real. And after 130 years on American breakfast tables, she was erased from the box entirely. The recipe she supposedly passed down. You just add water. Just powder and tap water. Everything about this box, the person on the front and the recipe on the back, is simpler and stranger than you thought. So how does a box of powder turn into a stack of fluffy pancakes? And why did a 130-year-old name have to disappear? 1888. St. Joseph, Missouri. Two men named Chris Rutt and Charles Underwood bought a failing flour mill. They called it the Pearl Milling Company and created something no American kitchen had seen before: a self-rising pancake mix. Flour, powdered milk, a pinch of salt. Pour, stir, cook. The product should have sold itself. It did not. Within 2 years, they were bankrupt. But before they lost everything, Rutt went to a vaudeville show. On the poster was a character named Aunt Jemima from a blackface minstrel song written by Billy Curzons in 1875. Rutt took the name and the image for his pancake brand. Not a tribute, a caricature. Then something else happened. A businessman named R.T. Davis bought the brand and hired Nancy Green, a formerly enslaved woman from Kentucky, to play Aunt Jemima at the World's Columbian Exposition in Chicago, 1893. She flipped over 1 million pancakes in 6 months. The fair gave her a medal and a lifetime contract. She worked under that name until she died in 1923, buried in an unmarked grave. A headstone was not placed until 2020. Quaker Oats acquired the brand in 1926. For nearly a century, nobody changed a thing. Then in 2020, they changed everything except the formula. Here's the thing nobody tells you. The powder inside that box is not a recipe. It is a chemical system engineered to stay dead on the shelf and come alive the moment water touches it. It starts with hard red winter wheat, crushed through roller mills, the same technique that gave Pearl Milling Company its name. The rollers separate the starchy endosperm from bran and germ. Fine white powder, but not ready yet. The flour gets bleached with benzoyl peroxide. 2 jobs: whiter color, weaker gluten. Bread needs strong gluten for chew, pancakes need weak gluten for softness. But bleaching strips natural vitamins. So the factory adds them back: niacinamide, reduced iron, thiamine mononitrate, riboflavin, folic acid. The label reads, enriched bleached flour. 4 words that mean milled, bleached, stripped, rebuilt. The box says complete because the powder already holds everything a pancake needs except water. Dehydrated whole egg and egg white. Spray dried at 200 degrees Celsius until bone dry. Vegetable oil shortening coated in sodium caseinate to stay free-flowing. Buttermilk solids for tang, dextrose for browning speed. Your grandmother cracked eggs, measured oil, poured buttermilk. The factory did all of it, then removed the water. Now the leavening. This is where the real engineering lives. Baking soda is sodium bicarbonate alkaline. When it meets acid and water, it releases carbon dioxide. Bubbles. But baking soda alone dumps all its gas the instant you stir. Batter fizzes, deflates, hits the skillet flat. The fix is sodium aluminum phosphate, SALP. Double acting. At room temperature, SALP releases only 20 to 30% of its carbon dioxide. The remaining 70 to 80% stays locked until the batter hits 140 degrees Fahrenheit. That is the second rise, the one you hear. At that same temperature, starch granules absorb water, swell, and trap the bubbles inside a solid matrix. By 167 degrees, the structure locks. The pancake holds its shape. The mix gets sealed in nitrogen-flushed packaging. Moisture is the trigger. If powder gets damp before you open it, SALP and baking soda react inside the box. All the gas escapes, flat as paper. Now your kitchen. You pour in water, a faint fizz that first 20% releasing. Batter hits a 375-degree skillet. Bubbles rise, slow, then fast. That sound is the remaining 80% erupting. When the bubbles pop and leave craters that do not fill back and flip. At 310 degrees, the Maillard reaction browns the surface. The powder in the box is dead chemistry. Everything waits until the first drop of water wakes it up. But here's the part worth pausing on. SALP is an aluminum compound. A Swedish study in 2019 fed 18 volunteers SALP, containing pancakes daily for 1 week. Urinary aluminum doubled. The compound passes through the gut into the bloodstream. For people with impaired kidneys, aluminum does not flush, it accumulates in bones and brain tissue. The WHO sets a tolerable intake at 2 milligrams per kilogram of body weight per week. In 2014, the EU significantly reduced allowable aluminum additives in flour. Same compound, legal in America, restricted in Europe. Here is where the story flips. In 2020, PepsiCo retired the Aunt Jemima name, the replacement Pearl Milling Company. The exact name Rutt and Underwood gave their flour mill in 1888. The brand erased the caricature by returning to the people who created it. On the first boxes after the rebrand, a small line at the bottom. New name, same great taste as Aunt Jemima. Name changed. Logo changed. The formula and the SALP stayed exactly the same. So if nothing inside changed, can you check for yourself? Yes, 10 seconds. Flip the box. Find the word leavening in the ingredients. If you see sodium aluminum phosphate or anything with aluminum, that mix uses SALP. If you only see baking soda and monocalcium phosphate, aluminum free. Pearl Milling Company Complete, 32 ounces, about $4. Contains SALP. Christia's Buttermilk Complete, same size, about $5. Also SALP. Bob's Red Mill, 24 ounces, about $7. Aluminum free. Kodiak Cakes Power Cakes, 20 ounces, roughly $10. No SALP, higher protein. If your family makes pancakes every Sunday, that is $3 more per month to remove aluminum from breakfast. If you open the box 3 times a year, Pearl Milling works fine. The choice is yours, but now you know what to look for and it takes 10 seconds. Next Sunday morning, when you reach for that box, whatever name is on the front, flip it over. Read the leavening line, 10 seconds. That is all it takes. That's the process. We reveal how things actually work one story at a time. If there's something you'd like us to explore next, let us know. Until then, trust the process.